Hello, fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today with this week's WIP and Chat. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress, and this is my work in progress. This is Firefly Fireworks from Diamond Art Club. It is a Randall Spangler, and it is my biggest and oldest kit in my stash. So I am trying to work on this one so I can get it done and mark it off my finish list. So this is what I'm going to be working on today. I think I've got everything ready to go. I've got a couple of pins. I've got my tray. I've got my drills. I've got my notes. I've got my timer. So I think I'm ready to go. So you are encouraged to go grab whatever it is that you are working on so that you can work alongside me while I chat, or alternatively, you can treat it like a podcast and just listen while I chat. So I'm just going to jump in, guys. I'm going to rearrange things a little bit so I can zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Okay, let me grab my first drills here. You guys, the last couple of weeks when I have been working on stuff, I have had several instances of me putting the wrong drills on the wrong symbols, both on this canvas and my Muka one. So I'm going to try really hard today to not do that because it's so annoying to have to go through and pick off all of the drills that I've made a mistake with. So cross my fingers. Okay. So I normally start with a life update. So let me start with that. It was a busy week. My youngest needed 8 cavities filled. We had 2 different appointments to accomplish all of that. So luckily that's all done now. So that's good. And crossing my fingers that that won't be an issue the next time he goes in for a checkup. We also went and had a consult because he needs his wisdom teeth removed. We went in for that. I was laughing when we left. It was entertaining to do that because the referral sheet that our dentist gave us was old and had the surgeon's old address on it. So we basically pulled up at this address and there's a big, for rent sign on the door. So I had to call them and say, where are you located? Because apparently I got the wrong information. They've been moved for almost a year. And she's like, I don't know why they would have used those old cards. And I'm like, well, it's not your fault. So luckily they were on the same street, just down several blocks. So we managed to get there on time for our appointment. But my son was complaining when we left because we got there, probably 10 minutes early, a little bit less due to the mishap with the address, and then get in there and wait and wait and wait after filling out some paperwork, go back and sit in the room and wait and wait and wait. The doctor comes in, he's there for 3 minutes, he leaves, we're out the door. And my son is like, typical doctor's visit, we're there for 45 minutes, but we actually only see the doctor for like 3 of those minutes. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty typical. So, however, he does need all of his wisdom teeth out. They are all impacted. One is actually broken through the gum line so we can see it. The other 3 are impacted coming in. He does not have enough room for all of his teeth, which is basically why all of us have had our teeth removed. So I'm like, well, that's not a surprise. That's the exact reason that I had mine taken out. It's why my daughter had hers taken out. So just he's kind of a late bloomer. I had mine out when I was like 16, 17, and same with my daughter. So, and my daughter had hers taken out before she had her orthodontic work done. In fact, that was one of the things they wanted done before they would start her orthodontic work. So I don't know if these just, for whatever reason, started coming in quickly, or if the dentist and orthodontist weren't just paying a whole lot of attention. I mean, he's been in orthodontic work for over a year. And really, he didn't need a whole lot. He did the whole Invisalign thing, but he does have a wire on his bottom teeth that she said he would need to wear for, we think, a couple of years. So, and he's been having a lot of headaches. So I'm wondering if that hasn't been part of it, that these wisdom teeth have been coming in and he doesn't have enough room. So anyway, we went and had the consult. He does need them taken out, so he's scheduled for surgery this week. And yeah, so he didn't need a root canal. We managed to not have that, although she did say when she got finished that it was kind of a large cavity, so she wants him to wait a month or so, and if he's still having problems with it, then he may need to come back in and have a crown and a root canal done. So crossing my fingers we don't need to get that done, because we're going to be paying enough for bills for dental work. In fact, that's something I get to do later today, is go through and pay bills and go through all of our insurance receipts and see what insurance paid and what didn't and how much we owe on various things. I've got, my daughter had dental work done. Now my son's had dental work done. My husband's physical therapy bill came. Weirdly, I haven't gotten a bill from the hospital, even though they owe us money back. I mean, so not weird that I didn't get a bill, but weird that I haven't got a notification from them that they're supposed to be sending us money back. My husband did go and get his shoulder looked at. The surgeon said, you know, if you think you're doing fine, yeah, I'll release you from light duty. So she released him from light duty. The very next day, he was doing something and pulled the muscle in his shoulder again. So I'm like, you're not safe to be let out. So he has off because of the holiday weekend. He's hoping that 2 or 3 days will be enough of a rest that it will be kind of back to where it was. And I'm like, you know, literally released from light duty, and the very next day he tweaks it again. I'm like, yeah. Anyway. So there's that. I think I mentioned before, we sent in all of our PR paperwork to Canada. We haven't gotten anything back yet, so I'm crossing my fingers that's good, because it hasn't been returned to us. So just kind of waiting to see how all of that's going to go. And yeah, trying to figure all of that out. We have convinced my oldest to move to Maine, even though she was adamant she didn't want to move someplace cold. She's decided now that might be okay. So we are now kind of rethinking what we want to get. What we're thinking is that we will get something that we can split into, like, so it can be a separate apartment for her. That way, if we want to, while we're not there and we're in Canada, we could, like, you know, rent it out as an Airbnb. She'd be there to kind of keep an eye on everything. Or alternatively, if we decide not to do that, she's there to kind of keep an eye on everything, so we wouldn't have to worry about like pipes freezing and things like that while we're not there. Somebody would still be in the home, just in the separate apartment part. And so that may make it a little interesting trying to find, you know, what we need, because I definitely would want her to have her own space. It would be okay if it was like a basement apartment or an upper apartment, upper level apartment. We've seen several of those. Just don't know if they're going to still be available when we're ready to purchase. We did approach a couple banks that we work with here. Neither one of them want to loan for a property outside of the state that we're in. So now we're trying to figure out what we want to do. My husband is actually going to call. There's a bank up in Maine that actually is also a Canadian bank. And so we're wondering if maybe that would be a good option for us, especially since we're planning on being in both places. And so, but trying to find out when we can call them and all of that can be kind of tricky. So we'll see what happens there. Um, let's see. And we're planning on, we want to get pre-approved for a mortgage so that we kind of know what our, I mean, we know what we want our budget to kind of be, but, you know, we've never lived in Maine, obviously. I've never really even been to Maine other than, we typically land in Bangor, rent a car, and then drive to his folks' house when we go so we can cross the border um, on land versus in the air, in the airplane. I, we've done that a couple of times where we've flown into Canada. I do not enjoy that process. So we have just gotten to where we, like I said, we fly into Bangor and we rent a car and then we just cross the border in a car and do it that way. I find it less stressful that way. So too many things that you can get delayed, and if we fly into Maine, flying domestically is a little bit easier. Not that we still wouldn't have delays or whatever, but it's just a little bit easier than flying across the border. And so we've been talking about tentatively uh, going up there here at the end of July, beginning of August, to do some looking in person so that we can kind of, tour some homes rather than just doing it all via the internet or whatever. And, so we could get a better feel for what the town is like and where we want to be and all that kind of stuff. We do have a couple of towns specifically that we're looking at, and, just trying to keep our options open and, trying to figure out, oh gosh, a little bit of everything. I mean, we're trying to figure out, we'd like something smaller than what we have now, but now we're trying to factor in, something that would have space for my daughter to have her own separate area. Um, and then we're trying to factor in, cost and something smaller so that there's less for us to take care of, because that's definitely something I want, is less of a footprint so that it's just all around less. It's less for us to maintain. It's less money for us to, upkeep and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. Because there's been lots of repairs going on around here. It's been kind of crazy, honestly. I know I told you guys last time that our AC was on the fritz. It's actually been working fairly well. So we've been happy with that. I mean, it's been hot and it's about to get hotter. This week, I think we're supposed to have most of the week over, the days are going to be over 100 degrees. So, because we haven't gotten it completely fixed yet. He added more refrigerant, more coolant, but we need to have our coil replaced. They are supposed to be coming out to do that. So that's a big expense for repair. And then my husband has been having issues with his car. He actually has a truck that he drives for work, so his car just sits a lot of the time. He's not been driving it like he normally does. If we go out of a weekend or whatever, we'll generally take my car. So his has just been kind of sitting there. He's been having issues with it not wanting to start, and it's needed some work on, it needs to have the timing chain redone. And while he could do that, he's more comfortable sending it to a mechanic and having the mechanic do it. So that's going to be a big expense for us. My car needed the tires rotated, which we've gotten done, but now I still need an alignment. And the place that was going to do it for us, their alignment machine is not working. So now we've got to figure that out. And then my oldest brought her car. Her car was throwing some check engine lights that we needed to get checked out. And then also she needed her brakes repaired. So we sent it to the mechanic for that, to get all of those done. So between that and all the dental work, our bank account is kind of screaming. So I told my husband, you're going to have to go do some more storm work so we can pay for all of this stuff, because it's getting a little bit crazy. Okay, I was going to say, let me cut this part, but let me do this little section first here, and then I will move on over here to this next section. Anyway, okay, so that's kind of all the life update stuff, I think. Yeah, I'm looking over my notes here. I think that's all of the life update stuff. Okay, so what's going on in diamond painting world? So let's see. You guys hopefully saw my monthly goals update video. If you didn't, I will try to remember to stick a link up in the corner so you can go check it out. Those of you who are followers of the channel know that I did at the beginning of the year set some goals for myself. I set goals, diamond painting goals. I also set like some subscriber goals and things like that. So every month I do a report on how I'm doing. So I did that a couple of days ago, and um, it's going well. Um, as far as like social media goals and stuff, I'm actually pretty close to the YouTube sub goal that I had set for myself. So I may need to revisit that, which is awesome. My other social media goals are going well. My Facebook group has 100 people in it, over 100 people. So yay. Thank you to everyone who has joined so far. I know 100 people probably doesn't sound like a huge group to a lot of you, but for me, for one, I don't use Facebook a lot, so it's been kind of a struggle for me to figure out how to kind of fit that in. I'm just not a huge fan of Facebook. I mean, I get why people like it. I get why it's useful. I just have issues with a lot of their policies and things, and I yeah, for that reason, I don't like them. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. A lot of you are comfortable with Facebook and how it works, and so I am trying to get better about posting in the group and on my page, and kind of encouraging people to interact more, because I would like the group to be a place where people can share pretty pictures of what they're doing, cool stuff that they've found, just for us to kind of all be a support group for each other. So, as far as social media goals, also on Instagram, I'm pretty close to a goal that I'd set for myself. So, like I said, hopefully in the next month or so, I'll be able to revisit and set some new goals for myself. So, that will be awesome. Let's see. Yesterday, you guys saw my State of the Stash update. If you haven't checked that out, go check it out. I will, again, try to stick a link up in the corner for you. Yikes, you guys. I was not prepared for that. I have way more in my stash than I'm comfortable with. However, like I said in the video, I know that a lot of that is due to my upcoming challenge in September. I've had a couple of people ask, so if you're new here, I am going to be doing a challenge in September that is basically was a double dog dare by my son and my husband, because I was talking about, what other things I could challenge myself to do. And, I jokingly said, oh, well, I should take a month and see if I can do 30 by 30s in 30 days. And my husband and my son both said, oh, you can't do that. That's too much. And so I just kind of went, okay, challenge accepted. So that is my September challenge, and has been what I am kind of hanging on to all of my 30 by 30s for. A lot of the stuff that I receive for product reviews, I send out in my random acts of kindness, because I do so many of them that frankly I'm never going to get all of those diamond paintings done. So I figure, spread them out, share them around, let some people have some things that they might not have had a chance to do otherwise, and then everybody's happy. I actually really love doing the random acts of kindness, and I'm excited to get back into it. I've had so many notes from people saying, oh my gosh, this came at such a good time. I was having, a rough day, a rough week, a rough month, whatever it is. and this brought a smile to my face, which is why I do it. So that's awesome. Thank yous are not necessary, but are much appreciated. And I'm glad that, me kind of paying it forward a little bit helps, because that's awesome. Okay, so let's see. The stash. So anyway, yeah, so my 30 by 30 challenge, I have, I think, what did I say? 32 or so kits that I'm saving for that 30 by 30 challenge, which means my stash number has ballooned, but like I said, I'm saving them for a specific thing. So here in another couple of months, that number will hopefully go down by quite a bit, and then we'll see where I am. Also, normally I have the summers off to work on diamond painting. So I get a lot done in the summers because I'm not at work. However, this year, because I will not be returning to the preschool as a regular teacher, I will have more time to diamond paint even once school is back in session. So I'm still on the fence debating whether I want to go back as a substitute. It's appealing to go back and still be able to work with the kids, but also being a sub means I won't have set hours, of course. I'd just be called in whenever they need it. So most of the time I wouldn't have any notice. And while that's okay in some ways because, I'm not really doing anything else, it's still, I am a planner and I know if I have some things planned out and then I get called out in the middle of it, I'm all kind of discombobulated for the day. So we'll see how that goes. So with the stash video, again, my numbers are ugh, but I know that it's, because of something specific that I'm doing. So I'm living with it, even though the number kind of made me cringe. So there's that. And also, as far as the stash goes, I'm making some progress. Like I said, if I didn't count all of the ones that I was saving for the 30 by 30 challenge, then my number's actually gone down, which is good. But I still need to kind of figure out, like I said, how to get it down even more. I once we figure out where we're moving to, maybe I'll be okay, kind of leaving things either in Maine or in Canada, or, traveling back and forth with some of it, whatever. But until then, I really want to work my stash down to a more manageable level. And someone also made the comment about, when we very first get into diamond painting, there's a lot of, ooh, I need this, I need that. And a lot of us get sucked into the hype of, oh, if you don't buy this right now, you'll never be able to get it again. And then after you diamond paint for a while, you realize that, one, that's not true. Restocks happen. And two, you, because of that, getting sucked into all that kind of hype by, various companies, you end up with diamond paintings that you don't really love. And for some people, that's okay. But I know, just even personally looking at my stash, every time I go through it to do a state of the stash update or go through it to kind of look at what do I want to work on next, there are a couple of canvases that I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get to this one. I don't even know if I want to do this one. This may be one that either sits in my stash forever until it's like, well, I've had it so long, I guess I'll do this one now. Or I get to a point where I'm like, okay, I just need to pass this on to someone else because I'm realistically not ever going to do it. And so having it sit in my stash is pointless. And sometimes your tastes just change. I bought a couple of them that I bought, and at the time was just really, oh my gosh, this is such a great piece of artwork, and I really want to do this one. And over time, as it's sat in my stash, I've kind of gone, maybe not so much. So, there's that. And I just pulled out the wrong colors. Let me pull out the right color here. Okay, so enough about my stash. Next up, DP for Pets. You guys, I want to thank everybody who participated in it. I had so much fun watching everybody post and talk about it and show all the pretty pictures, and everybody filling out the exit form and seeing all the cool things that you guys did and what you got finished. And a huge thanks again to Robin and Robert for providing items so that I could do the weekly giveaways. That was a lot of fun. So I'm hoping I will be able to incorporate that into my DP for Vets event in November as well. And in addition to the cute kits that everybody did, I also got to see, because some of you were doing kits that were of your actual pets. And so I got to see some of everybody's adorable little animals, which was amazing. So yeah, I just had a lot of fun doing the whole thing. So, and it really wasn't as much work as I had anticipated it to be. In some ways, it was a lot easier than I had anticipated. Not that everything went flawlessly. I certainly made a couple of mistakes. But overall, I think it went really well. So I'm really happy with that. For those of you who are wondering if you missed the winner, you didn't. I am planning to do a video montage with all of your awesome finishes so I can show off all the amazing stuff that you guys did, and as well as the couple that I finished. And then I will be using my decision wheel to do the drawing for the final prize package winner. So hopefully that will go out tomorrow. So you guys will know who won, and can see all the awesome stuff that you guys did. So that's the plan for that. So don't forget to keep an eye out for that video. I am planning for it to go out on Monday, barring any unforeseen circumstances. I should have enough time to edit it all and get it all put together. So that's the plan anyway. So I'm after how successful this one was, I'm really looking forward to the event in November. I have already met my event goal, so that's good. Some people are super ambitious and have been doing a whole bunch of events all at once. I know Jess was doing 6 or 7 events at the same time with multiple canvases. Some canvases did double duty for some events, but some of them were just for particular things. And I know there's even more events coming along. I am currently working hard to finish my canvases that I want to get done. I want to get this one finished because, again, it is my oldest kit that was in my stash, and I'm pretty sure it is my actual largest as far as drill field size goes, because this painting is literally taller than I am. So yeah. So I want to get this one finished. I want to get the Muka that I'm working on finished. I am working on a Muka from Diamond Painting Shop for the Summer with the Masters event this summer. So working hard and hoping I can get that one finished, so I can get 2 big canvases kind of off my plate, and then I can start looking at what other things I want to do. I don't know that I'm going to be doing any more specific events until October. I do plan to do drills and chills, and I already have a canvas picked out for that. I am planning to do my own 30 by 30 challenge in September. So I don't know that I want to get myself involved in a whole bunch of other events while I'm kind of leading up and or in the middle of that, because I think that is definitely going to be a challenge for me to try and get that many canvases done in the 30 days. I'm still trying to work out details of how many I want to make partials and that kind of thing. So thank you to everybody that gave me feedback on that. I'm still working it out, but we'll see. I'll announce when we get closer to that what all the details are. And if any of you are interested in DPing along with me, please feel free. Don't feel like you have to participate in the challenge, but if you'd like to do some 30 by 30s during September while I'm doing my challenge, then yeah, that'd be awesome. Okay. So once I get done with this big kit and my Muka, my plan is to move on to at least one of my Heaven and Earth design kits, because then that will probably be one of my biggest ones that's open and needs to be finished. And then I can start working on some of my other projects and getting things out of my stash. So, yeah, just being able to um, get these two big ones done and off my plate will be a huge weight off my shoulders. This one is actually going faster than I had anticipated it would when I actually get time to sit down and work on it, which unfortunately lately has just been during WIP and chats. So I'm closer to finishing the Muka than I am this one. So I think what I will end up doing is likely working on the Muka until it's done, and then I will come back to this one and finish it before like I said, moving on to my Heaven and Earth designs. Um, I've got other projects in mind that I want to do, but I'm still looking at my goals and things like that and seeing, what things I want to tweak, if I want to add or update some of my goals. I know I had a couple of suggestions for reevaluating the budget, which I'm considering, but we'll see. I don't know that I'm going to update my diamond painting hours goal. I know I'm probably not going to make it, but I want to wait until I get these two big canvases done because, like I said, the way that I count my hours is a little bit strange. And so it's not quite reflective of actual hours worked because I don't count the hours until a project is finished. So for instance, all of the work that I've done on this kit and my Muka will not count until those two projects are finished, which means even though I've spent most of June working on these two canvases, well, on the Muka anyway, none of those hours will get counted until hopefully, the end of July. The event ends July 31st. I'm hoping I'll be done with it by then. Um, so, and now that DP for Pets is finished, that kind of stole a bunch of my focus, so I can kind of get back into my regular diamond painting groove. Fingers crossed. And because I'm not looking to do a whole lot of events, I'm going to basically be focusing on this kit, the Muka, and then I will start looking at my 30 by 30 challenge. I need to start I've got more kits coming that will qualify for that event. So once I've got probably 40-ish kits, I'm going to start kind of winnowing it down and figuring out which ones I want to do and which ones I don't. I know I want to try and I've got to try and figure out how many of them are going to be partials. And then I want to try and figure out how many of them I can do that are not going to be ones with white backgrounds, because the ones with white backgrounds are not my favorite. I know I have quite a few of them, so I want to go through and actually look at, which ones do I have, which ones do I actually want to do, enough that I would be happy to put up with doing the white background, which ones are kind of nah, and I can pass those on to someone else. So yeah, and now that DP for Pets is going to be done, I can get back into sending out my random acts of kindness, because I am behind on that due to DP for Pets. So yeah, so once I get done with these two, like I said, focusing on the 30 by 30 challenge in September, then in September, October, I can also be focusing on drills and chills, probably mostly October since I'm going to be doing the 30 by 30 challenge in September. And then in November, be doing my own DP for Vets event. So if you're interested in that, be thinking ahead. It is going to be anything themed for Veterans Day / Remembrance Day / anything patriotic. So you know, if you want it something specifically, what I'm going to be doing is, well, my plan is to do, I've got a kit with poppies in it for Remembrance Day. I've also got a couple of kits with flags on them that I may do as well, depending on, you know, how long things take me. Uh, but, you know, if you want to do something patriotic, like for example, my kits, I've got one that has an American flag. I've got one that has a combination of an American flag and Canadian flag. If you would want to do, for instance, your country's flag, or if you'd rather stick to something like the poppies that is more specific for Remembrance Day or whatever, um, anything like that is eligible for the event, and it will be needs to be at least a 30 by 30, same as DP for pets. A lot of the rules will be the same. I am reevaluating now that DP for pets is over. I'm going to kind of reevaluate how I want to change things up and what I want to do. So as we get closer to November, I will be putting out information on that event. So, and then once Christmas rolls around, uh, I have an idea in mind for something that I want to do. It's not going to be an event per se. And I don't think I'm going to do an Advent again like I did last year, but I do have something that I have in mind to do. Just haven't kind of worked out the logistics. And also some of it will be dependent on, you know, where we're at, whether we're close to moving or not, um, you know, whether we have moved at that point. So yeah, just kind of a lot of things up in the air, but that's my plan. I still make plans, even though I don't know how things are going to go, because that's how things work for me. If I don't have a plan, I get anxious. So I would rather have a plan and have to rework my plan than not have a plan and be flying by the seat of my pants. So, and that may be weird to some people, but that's how it works for me. So yeah. So that's where I'm at. Let me see. Okay, what color do I need? Let's do this one. Okay, what else do I want to talk to you guys about? I think that's it for diamond painting land. Oh, I started to tell you guys, my youngest is getting really frustrated. He got called for jury duty I want to say last August, last September, somewhere in there. And we basically said a letter in and said, you know, he needs to be excused. He's a full-time college student. He can't, you know, you can't just take off for a week or 2 weeks or however long a trial would take when you're in the middle of college classes. And so, you know, even though his classes are online, he still has, you know, deadlines that he has to meet, research and things that he has to do. He can't just be gone all day for, you know, weeks at a time. So they agreed to postpone it. Well, we got a letter at the beginning of the summer that said basically he was going to be on call this whole summer. So luckily, he hasn't been called yet. And here, you know, we're thinking, okay, so at the end of July, we can send him a letter and say, okay, we're taking this vacation to Maine to go look for someplace to live or whatever if he wanted to go with us. And we get a letter in the mail that says, oh, well, since you haven't been called, we're extending your jury duty service by 3 months. And I'm like, okay, now wait a minute. It's not his fault that he didn't get called, right? That means that they didn't need him as part of the jury pool. That has nothing to do with him. So, you know, he stayed here. He's not gone anywhere because he knew he was on call, blah, blah, blah. Well, now we've got the surgery scheduled. So, crossing my fingers, he doesn't get called during that. So, we need to probably notify them of that. And then I think if he doesn't get notified on Monday that he has to come in, then he's fine for the week, is the way it works. So, should be okay there because his surgery is later in the week. But, you know, them just extending it. I told him, I said, you're going to have to write another letter that says, sorry, I'm still a college student. I can't just be on call for another, 3 months. I mean, realistically, he probably could be on call, but he couldn't go in and serve if they called him. And so he's frustrated because he's like, why do I keep, getting put on the list and then I don't get called and then they tell me I have to stay on the list. And I'm like, honestly, I don't know. I don't think it should work that way, but I mean, what can we do about it? Nothing, right? And it's not that he doesn't want to serve. It's just, you know, you don't have any idea when you get called, what you're going in for, and how long things are going to take. And so it's just this big unknown. Um, which, I mean, I think everybody feels that way. You have to take off work or school, which, is not really an option in his case. I mean, it would adversely affect his grades if he had to take off from school. Um, so yeah, it's just been kind of crazy, and he's frustrated with the whole situation. And I'm like, well, not a whole lot we can do other than just send it in. And then, he's like, why do I keep getting picked? Because my husband hasn't been called, I haven't been called, my daughter hasn't been called, and knock on wood that I didn't just jinx all of us. And also, we're considering moving, so if we can get it postponed, we may be gone by the time he's done with school. Our goal is, what we're hoping is going to happen is that in the next 6 months we'll get something from Canada saying that we've been approved, and then we can, really earnestly start looking for something in Maine and Canada, and get moved up there in the short term to Maine, and then get moved into Canada. Um, we we are looking at moving to Maine even prior to us being approved for permanent residency in Canada. So our goal at the moment is that we will stay here until the end of this year, and then which seems crazy, probably. Moving in the winter, especially to someplace like Maine, is probably not the smartest thing we could do, but that's the plan at the moment. Life works how it works, and that is what we think is going to be best for us at the moment. That plan may change as things happen. So this is going to be difficult for me because, like I said, I am very much make a plan and do not like flying by the seat of my pants kind of person. And so trying to figure out all the logistics of how we're going to do this, and jobs and school and moving and all of that, is a little overwhelming. So yeah, we're just trying to take it, one step at a time, figure out what we want to do. Um, the move to Maine can really happen at any time. I mean, we can move anywhere in the states that we want to. It's just a matter of, like I said, logistics and finding a place to live, and then figuring out what we're going to do for employment and school. Um, my son's school offers the ability for him to do an online degree so that he could be anywhere in the U.S. and still finish his degree from that university without having to worry about transferring credits and all that kind of stuff, because that just gets to be a pain. And so we're trying to figure out the logistics of that, and where is that color? Figure out the logistics of that for him, and then trying to figure out, what my husband is going to do for work. I can do what I'm doing from pretty much anywhere. If I wanted to work at a preschool, there are so many places that are looking for help at preschools and daycares that I'm fairly certain I could find work if I wanted anywhere that we went. I've still got all my certifications and all that kind of stuff. So if I wanted to do that, it shouldn't be an issue. So, and same with my daughter, she is looking to work more in a school district kind of job, but if she needed to work in like a preschool setting or something, she could do that as well. So, yeah, it's just a lot of logistics stuff, and it's always easier to just stay where you are, right? Inertia is easier than making a change. So, um, that's the plan, is that we'll just kind of stay here and see what happens. And then, at the end of the year, we'll, the end of the calendar year, we'll kind of evaluate and see where we're at. Or, maybe we'll get lucky and we get notified, in the next 3 or 4 weeks that we can move to Canada, and we decide, hey, um, get a place in Maine, but we're not really going to stay there, get my daughter set up, and then we move directly into Canada. We don't know, which is scary and exciting all at the same time. I am a big fan of the tiny house slash van life slash RV life movement. I very much want to, although I know the state of my stash doesn't reflect this, I am very much a minimalist in a lot of ways. My husband and I were just discussing yesterday that, we have closets full of clothes that we don't wear. We have drawers full of stuff we don't use. We have cars sitting in our driveway that just sit there. And so, what is it that we want? What is it that we need? And how can we get there? A lot of the movement towards tiny homes, van life, RV life is experiences over things. And, I just learned from my parents that, you literally can't take it with you. And what is the point of leaving behind a bunch of things that your relatives, children, whatever, have to sort through when you're gone? Most of it ends up being stuff that they either can't use or don't want. I mean, sentimental things, heirlooms, of course, but, we just in general as people have so much stuff that is unnecessary. And so, yeah, I have for probably a good 10 years now been more about experiences rather than things. That's why my kids and I went on so many vacations when we had the opportunity. In fact, we were just talking about that because um, riding in the car to and from appointments is a lot of the time that I get to talk with my son. And we were talking about, the various vacations and what he remembered and what he didn't. And we were talking about, well, we were talking about Hard Rock cafes. I like Hard Rock cafes. And so pretty much anytime we took a vacation, we went to a Hard Rock cafe. So I've been to one in San Antonio. I've been in one in Dallas, Chicago, New Orleans, Memphis. There's a lot of them. And, if there was one where we were going, we went to it. Um, and we were talking about trips, and I mentioned Memphis, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that trip," because he was pretty young. But it was a trip that we took with my parents, and my mom was a huge Elvis fan. And so we were taking a trip, and we ended up going all the way to North Carolina and then coming back through Memphis. And we met up with my folks in Memphis. And so I got to go with my mom. I like Elvis too. I'm a big Elvis fan. And got to go on a tour of Graceland with my mom. And the kids went with us. And of course, my son, I think, was 5 at the time. So he had zero clue what we were doing and zero interest in it. And my dad took him, and they went and did something else outside the house. I think they were touring like where the graves were and that kind of thing. Um, And, you know, just giving my mom and I time to kind of wander through it because my mom wanted to see everything. And I mean, she'd been an Elvis fan since she was practically a teenager. And um, so, but it was an awesome trip. I had a lot of fun on that trip with my folks. And um, anyway, so we were just talking about trips, and, you know, that was an amazing experience that I might never have gotten to have otherwise. And you know, I really treasure my memories of that trip. And so, do I have mementos from that trip? Yes, I do. But what really means something is the memories. So, yeah, experiences over things is where I'm at, and what we want to do. And so that's going to factor into our decision making process when we look at, you know, what we're going to do as we move to Maine, as we move to Canada. Um, my husband has a good job and he makes money at what he does, and that's awesome. But at this point in our lives, I would really like for him to be home a little bit more than he currently is. Um, he works 10-hour days, 5 days a week, um, sometimes 6 days a week, depending on what they're doing. And, you know, while the money is nice, it's also nice to have him at home so that we can be a family together. And that's hard to do when he, you know, leaves when it's dark and doesn't get home until after it's dark. And he doesn't, because of the kind of work he does, he doesn't get days off or vacations or anything like that. If he takes time off, he doesn't get paid. So, yeah, it's just a different kind of lifestyle. And after 30 plus years in the trade, he's ready to move on to something else. So, okay. So I think I have chatted enough. I have finished my first little dragon foot, you guys. How cute is this little claws and everything? So I feel like I'm making some good progress here. Let me zoom out so you guys can kind of see. So I think I've finished all the grass and stuff. I'm actually going to be moving into the actual dragling, so part of it. So that's exciting. Oh, and you know what? I think I saw something about a dragling event. So maybe I'll say I'm doing that this as part of it. Maybe that'll give me some more motivation to work on it a little bit more. Um, I don't have a place to kind of put it out and leave it, which is why it gets worked on so sporadically. I'd like to put it on my dining room table, but that's currently occupied by my muka. So once I get the muka finished, then I think is where this one will go live for a while, and then I'll start working on something a little bit smaller, I hope. So that's it for me today, guys. Thanks so much for sticking around and listening to me blather on. Um, don't forget that I will be posting, hopefully tomorrow, the montage video and drawing the winner for DP for Pets. So good luck to all of you who participated and filled out the entry and exit forms. And yeah, that's it for today, guys. Before you leave, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.